fire.
You're looking live through ISO certified lens to the sky over New Milford, Illinois on this solar eclipse day. Hey everybody, Craig Saunders here with glasses on that are not going to help me, so I'm just going to take, they just look cool, right? Do they look cool? I put this up maybe side by side. How's that going to look? There we go. How? There we go. My dog's laying in the sunshine. I may leave her out. I'm not sure, but anyway, we're here. We're live, as promised, through the lens of an old JVC camcorder and one of those ISO worthy filters. Take a look at what's going to happen as the sun crosses our sky here in about another, looks like maybe another 40 minutes or so before we actually start to see some coverage of the sun by the moon in our solar eclipse. Our buddy Tom Warner is in Missouri. I'm hoping he'll be able to join us at some point during this podcast, but I don't know if he's going to be able to or not. I don't know his Wi-Fi situation. Haven't heard yet if he's got decent enough Wi-Fi. But he's in a place where they're going to have totality. Here in Rockford, we're a 90-ish% totality expected here, which will be interesting to see just how dark our sky gets over Rockford. Does echo sound pretty good? Ooh, that's kind of fun. Maybe I should leave echo on for the day. That'll sound really cool. Anyway, I was concerned where I'm sitting. Maybe that's too much. I was concerned where my camera is sitting, whether or not I was going to be able to get a decent shot of the sky and the sun, but it's almost perfect. The sun is just south enough of Rockford to get a glimpse out my penthouse studio window up here in New Milford. And it's so far so good. Now I have had this out for a little while now, so I'm a little bit worried that the film on the glasses has gotten pretty hot. I hope it doesn't melt to the lens. I tried to take it out of the sun for an hour or so, and then just moved it back here a few minutes ago. So hopefully it won't melt to the lens of the camera. Anyway, you've probably already been hearing this stuff, but in case you haven't, you just don't want to be looking at the sun with the naked eye. It's not good, and you won't necessarily notice issues with your eyes right away. It might take a few days before you start to realize just what damage you've done if you look at the sun without the aid of one of these filters, these ISO certified filters. Is it on here? Remember to never look at the sun directly. You want to safely view the solar eclipse, use solar filters, and only during the exact moment of totality, when the moon completely obscures the sun, can you look with the naked eye. And we're not going to have totality here in Rockford. There's going to be a sliver still showing, and so you could still damage your eyes. Precautions need to be taken. Observers need to wear solar eclipse glasses. Your camera, your telescopes, your binoculars, all should have solar filters in front of the lenses. In front of the lenses, not just your eyes, the lenses. If you think you can put on some of these solar glasses and then look through binoculars at the sun, you're going to mess yourself up. Don't do that. Don't do that. You need to have the filter in front of the lenses. Think of if you were a kid, do you remember ever taking a magnifying glass and starting a dry blade of grass on fire? Or maybe you were like me and you actually focused it on an ant to see if you could burn it, and it worked. Yeah, that's going to happen to your eyes unless you have these solar filters in front of the lenses. Welder glasses, welder masks, also probably good enough to filter the sun. I've got some stuff from space.com today to share with you. 10 facts that may surprise you about this solar eclipse that we're experiencing here in North America today. So we're going to share some of that from space.com. And I also got some notes from my buddy Mike Schlody. For those of us who are Christians and believers, I thought his sharing some information, the information he shared recently, was also pretty good. So we've got that to share as well. Still waiting to hear back from Tom, and hopefully he can join us here in a little bit. But the view you're seeing, as I mentioned, is out the window of our penthouse studio here at Ascension Pro Services, INCROWD815 podcast, and south side of New Milford, looking out over the sky. And sure enough, we're in a good spot to be able to see this take place here. Oh, probably in about another 35 minutes. You never did that? That must have been a girl comment then, right? Such a boy thing to do to those ants. I'm not saying I sit there every day and did it, but I just had to see if it worked, right? I just had to see if it was something that actually would work, and sure enough, it did. If you're on Facebook and can go Facebook Live, I'm curious if we couldn't connect and have you on our webcast live through Facebook Live. I haven't tried doing this before. This would be something new that I would love to try. If you're somewhere with again, we don't want you looking at the sun with the naked eye or trying to video the sun with an unfiltered camera. Even your camera phone. You could ruin your camera phone trying to use that to take pictures of this if you don't have a proper filter. So don't wreck your phone. The phones are expensive. You don't need to be doing that. I've got some stuff here from Windsor Elementary School that was shared by our friend Jules over at Fresh Prince of Loves Park. Thank you, Julie, for this. 2024 solar eclipse safety. Today, the solar eclipse crossing North America will pass over Mexico, the United States, and Canada. An eclipse is a celestial event that drastically changes the appearance of the sun and the moon. People can experience solar eclipses when the Earth, the moon, and the sun line up. Safety, the number one priority when viewing a solar eclipse. As you saw me earlier, wearing glasses like these ain't gonna help. No, this is not enough. You need more than that. So make sure you've got that. Never look directly at the sun without proper eye protection. Safe solar viewing glasses. They've got an ISO number, an ISO and a number printed on them if they've been certified. If they haven't been certified, they're probably fake. You don't want to risk it. Eclipse glasses are not the same as regular sunglasses. Regular sunglasses not safe for viewing the sun. Only view for a short time when the moon completely obscures the sun, that period of totality, which we're really not getting here in the Rockford area. We're only getting at about 90% total. So we are not safe to be looking at the sun at all today. If you don't have eclipse glasses, you can use an indirect viewing method, such as a pinhole projector, which projects an image of the sun onto a nearby surface. Do not look at the sun through the pinhole. No. You look away from the sun. I remember doing this as a kid in 1979, the last time we had a really good solar eclipse. We had one in 2017, which was kind of more of a partial. I don't think it was quite that full in 2017, at least not in our area. But as a kid in 1979, I believe we did. We made these indirect viewing, we basically shoe boxes with holes in one side, and it was really cool to be able to watch how the sun, the moon blocked the sun for a couple of minutes and then moved away. Viewing any part of the sun through a camera lens, binoculars, or telescope without a special purpose solar filter will instantly cause severe eye injury. So be careful. Hey, Diane. Yeah, the time and date website. We were looking at that earlier too, and we'll probably bring that up at some point here during our podcast here today. Safe solar viewers are thousands of times darker, and they should comply with, here's the number, ISO 12312-2 international standards. IEMA and OHS does not approve any particular brand of solar viewers. Inspect your Eclipse glasses and handheld viewer before you use them. If they're torn, they're scratched, or damaged, discard them. They are not worthy. And always supervise the kids using solar viewers or Eclipse glasses. The next solar eclipse will be available in the United States in 2044. Again, thanks to ready.illinois.gov for this information, and to our friend Julie over there at Fresh Prince of Loves Park. Here's a good one for you. Happy Eclipse Day from our friends at RVC Starlight here. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So yeah, if you're on Facebook Live, I would be curious if you can find our INCROWD815 podcast page, and or just go live and tell us you're live, and tell us where you're live. Maybe we can find you and talk to you on the podcast today. Something we've tried using Facebook Messenger phone calls before, and those have worked. Video calls through Facebook Messenger, those we've made work in the past. But actually watching someone else's Facebook Live video, we haven't tried yet. So I'm really kind of curious if that might be something that works. All right, let's see what we got here. The eclipse is currently in progress, says timeanddate.com. There is a map somewhere on here that's showing where it is. Path map. Live stream. There we go. They've got a live stream going on there as well. And music, apparently. Better than mine? Maybe better than mine. Live over Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Live from Burlington, Vermont. And live from Torreon, Mexico. Where apparently, is that where it's currently full? Here's a quick look at that. Live stream, total solar eclipse. Ooh, hello. So was this earlier today, or is this happening right now over Mexico? It says live from Mexico. The path of the eclipse, oddly enough, will be over land, including Mexico, the US, and Canada, for 100 minutes. nearly exactly 100 minutes. And that's happening right there. Totality over Torreon, Mexico. Thanks to footage by Exploratorium. Is that little bit of sliver going to disappear? Or is it starting to open back up again? It's starting to open back up again. Back to our camera here in New Milford. I'm going to try to zoom in on that just a little bit more, and we'll see what that looks like. See if we can zoom in on it a little bit better. I'll admit that's pretty good, hey? That's not bad. We'll see how that progresses here over the next half hour or so. Hopefully we can keep that camera shot right on the sun. The lenses are amazing. The lens is absolutely amazing. It's just got to last another hour. That's all we need it to last, is another hour. Once again, if you are watching and you've got Facebook Live capabilities where you are, we'd love to hear from you. Even if you just went live, don't point your camera phone at the sun at all. Just tell us where you're at, where you're watching. If you got glasses, if you got a contraption that you're using instead, let us know where you're at today. Some of the other stuff that my buddy Mike Schlody was saying, he says, just to help you navigate through a faulty claim that the 3 hours of darkness between noon and 3 during the crucifixion of Jesus was a solar eclipse. He says, remember, the Jewish months were defined by phases of the moon, and a new moon began a new month. 2 weeks after a new moon comes a full moon. Passover was to be observed on the 14th day of the first month, according to Leviticus chapter 23, verse 5. Therefore, that would be during a full moon. Jesus was crucified during Passover week. And solar eclipses require a new moon. That darkness lasted 3 hours. A solar eclipse darkness lasts less than 8 minutes. Today's will be lasting about 4 if you're in the line of totality. So the moon would have been full during Passover week. Not new. There is never a solar eclipse during a full moon. The 3 hours of darkness during the crucifixion of the Savior was definitely supernatural. So you're seeing some flickering on the screen from my camera, and that's just the age of the camera and the other technology that we're using. It's the other reason why we're not using that camera anymore for this podcast. For those who might remember, 4 years ago, almost to the day, we were on, maybe it was to the day. Was today a Saturday 4 years ago? We were launching our podcast. The first couple episodes. The first episode was a flop. Just did not work at all. The second episode, I believe, went pretty well. And the camera that you're watching right now, the sun through and the filter, that is the camera we used for like the first year of the show. And then it started flickering, and I don't exactly know why. Could never figure it out, could never get it fixed. So I bought a cheapy webcam camera, and we used that for quite a while. And then most recently, here within the last 6 months, we switched over to it's called an eye-to-eye Cam 3. And this is a camera that actually suction cups to our screen. So it helps me as a host to be able to look at least in the same direction as my guests while I'm talking to them. If your camera angle's way off, it's kind of hard to look eye to eye, face to face with your guests. But this camera suction cups right to the screen, so I can maneuver the camera and my screen. Right now, my camera is actually partially blocking the sun. The sun that you're seeing on the screen right now is about 30 to 40% covered by my camera on the screen as I'm watching it right now. I could probably turn down this volume a little bit, couldn't I? Our friends over at space.com have 10 facts that may surprise you about today's total solar eclipse. Fact number 1, totality will occur on land for 100 minutes, as I mentioned earlier, after the moon's central shadow touches the Earth at sunrise in the Pacific Ocean, close to Starbuck Island in Kiribati. It'll take 3 hours and 16 minutes to cross the Earth before it departs at sunset in the Atlantic Ocean north of the Azores. Can I do this one with some echo? Would that be cool? Check 1 2 echo. Maybe I should put some headphones on and see if this actually sounds halfway decent. How's the echo sound? Check 1 2. Oh, that's right. This won't let me see it. This won't let me hear it. That's okay. We'll leave it on for the moment, just for the fun of it. The path of totality will be about 10,000 miles, which is about 16,000 kilometers, less than half of which occurs on land. Most of it will be over ocean. Totality moves across North America, Mexico, the US, and Canada in 100 minutes, spending 68 of those minutes moving across parts of 15 United States. For those in the path of totality, it'll be the longest totality on land since the total solar eclipse of July 2010, which happened in Easter Island. July 11th, 2010, that one lasted for almost the same length of time, 4 minutes, 28 seconds. Fun fact number 2, it will be nothing like October's Ring of Fire solar eclipse. If you saw the annular solar eclipse, October 14th of 2023, you're considering giving this one a miss. Well, hey, this total solar eclipse where the moon will briefly cover the entire disk of the sun, only during this kind of solar eclipse can the sun's outer corona be seen with the naked eye. It's like seeing our star for the first time floating in space. And this is going to be what makes it so incredibly awesome. People with the great equipment out there, I'm sure we'll be getting some great photos and videos that we can all watch later. That'll be way better than what I'm getting right now on the cheapy little JVC camcorder that I've got pointed out my window with the solar glass cover on it. Fun fact number 3, parts of 15 U.S. states will experience totality about 115 miles wide as it races across the Earth's surface. The path of totality will cross parts of 4 states in Mexico and 15 states in the U.S., including Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. It will also cross 7 Canadian provinces. In the U.S., totality began at about 1:27, so we're a whole 6 minutes into it as I read this now. And when it ends in Maine, it'll be about 3:35 p.m. Fun fact number 4, Tennessee and Michigan get only a technical totality today. The path of totality touches a small corner of Tennessee, a small corner of Michigan. Only the very northwest corner of Tennessee is in the path, and they'll be in darkness for about 2 minutes and 7 seconds at Kentucky Bend, New Madrid Bend in Tennessee. In Michigan, only the farthest southeast corner is in the path, about 1 minute and 20 seconds worth of totality at the exclave of Lost Peninsula Marina in Michigan. Fun fact number 5, a tiny village in Mexico is going to get the best view. They already are getting that like right now. Within any path of totality is a center point, a point of maximum eclipse where the total solar eclipse will be experienced around midday with the sun and moon at their highest in the sky. It's here where the geometry of the sun, the moon, the earth all line up precisely, meaning the slowest moving shadow, and so the longest totality. That point today is just 4 miles north of Nezas, population of 3,600 in the Mexican state of Durango. From here, totality will last 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Maybe that's what we were just watching on that time and date video just a little bit ago. Currently, it's the Torreon, Mexico is where that was earlier. Fun fact number 6, this is part of a repeating event in North America. Solar eclipses come in families called Saros, S-A-R-O-S, Saros, which is Greek for repetition. Every 6,585.3 days, a shadow of the moon hits Earth of roughly the same proportions as the previous one. The only reason it doesn't occur in the same place is that 0.3 part of the day. That's about 8 hours, which means Earth has rotated slightly. The solar eclipse today is part of Saros 139, which 6,585.3 days previously was March 29th, 2006. That produced an almost identical totality for Africa and Asia. The next eclipse in Saros 139 after today will occur April 20th of 2042, and totality there will be visible from Indonesia, Eastern Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines. Every 4th repetition, every 54 years, a total solar eclipse occurs in roughly the same place, something they call exiligmos. Exiligmos. E-X-E-L-I-G-M-O-S. March 7th, 1970. That happened in Mexico, through the U.S., through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Massachusetts. And in May 11th of 2078 will be the next time that Saros 139 visits our continent. It will pass through Mexico, the U.S., including Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Anybody going to be around in 2078? I would be 108 years old. We'll see. Fun fact number 7. Nobody's commenting about the echo, so I'm assuming it's not completely annoying. If it is, you need to comment and let me know that the comments a little bit, that the echo is too much. Fun fact number 7, seasons determine the path of totality. If you look at the central paths of the 2 solar eclipses that will strike North America within 6 months, the annular solar eclipse that happened October 14th of last year, and the total solar eclipse today, one shadow moves northwest to southeast. The other moves southwest to northeast. Well, why is that? Through the position and distance of the moon have a huge effect on the eclipse. The differing orientation is the Earth's tilted axis, which is leaning different ways during both eclipses. October, the Earth moves downwards as it rotates, while in April, here in the spring, it moves upwards. And that's why you're getting different patterns. Fun fact number 8, there's 10 of these surprising facts from space.com. It's a city eclipse. What does that mean? About 40 million people live within the path of totality today, around 3/4 of them here in the United States. Major cities inside the path this time include Mazatlan and Torreon in Mexico, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas-Fort Worth, Indianapolis is right in the center, Little Rock, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Rochester in the United States, also Hamilton and Montreal in Canada. That accounts for about 10 million people. However, there are also many huge cities close to the path of totality, and those residents only have to drive a short distance to experience totality, something that eclipse chasers travel worldwide to experience. St. Louis, Cincinnati, Toronto, Quebec, all very close to the path, where inhabitants of Houston, Chicago, Detroit, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. are all within 200 miles of the path of totality. Fun fact number 9, Alaska misses out on totality, but not for long. Neither of the 2 contiguous U.S. states will see a total solar eclipse today. Hawaii gets about a 20% partial solar eclipse. They had that at sunrise today. And in comparison, only southeast Alaska, west of Juneau, including Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, which I was just at here last fall, they will see up to 5%, a partial solar eclipse happening mid-morning. However, Alaska will only have to wait until just after sunrise, March 30th of the year 2033, almost exactly 9 years from today, they will get a total solar eclipse. The maximum of 2 minutes and 37 seconds of totality will be experienced that day, with key observing locations within a 500-mile wide path of totality, including Nome and St. Lawrence Island. And finally, fun fact number 10, before I go and adjust my camera, I'm about to lose my sunshine over there. The UK, United Kingdom, will have the last view of the eclipse today. Very few will notice it, but this total solar eclipse for North America ceases to exist on the west coast of the United Kingdom. A sunset commences April 8th from the west coast of Wales, England, and Scotland, where it will be possible to see a tiny bite taken from the sun in the slightest of partial solar eclipses. Very low view of the horizon will be required. In practice, an ocean horizon as well as clear skies. Hopefully they get that this evening. Space.com, provider of these wonderful 10 surprising facts about today's solar eclipse. The echo's a fun background. Okay, I'm getting a comment that it's a fun background. Okay. I was hoping it would be fun. I turned it down a little bit from effect because a little bit too much I think would be annoying. We are live, by the way, on Instagram, as well as YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn as well. And I'm happy with the picture. I was really concerned that it might not look good enough to bother doing, but it's coming across pretty well, from my vantage point anyway. Hope you're enjoying it too, as we witness solar eclipse here in the State Line area. I'm going to go see if I can move my camera slightly so we're in good position to see the actual moment that things start cutting in here. Once the moon starts cutting into the sun, we want to see that a little better. So I'm going to go see if I can arrange that now. Gonna resist the urge to gonna resist the urge to move the camera, zoom it in any more than that. Just this is a pretty good size. I think it's pretty good size for the screen. And hopefully I won't have to adjust it again. It's 144. I'm probably gonna have to adjust it one more time, I bet, before we sign off here. What is the time at 2? Where did that go here? Right at about 2:05 should be our maximum coverage of the sun by the moon. Again, here in Rockford, Illinois, we are considered a partial solar eclipse that began at about 12:50, although I'm not seeing anything here. Maximum at about 2:05 and ending at about 3:20. So far, my dog's doing okay. Beta's just chilling in what sliver of sunlight she has over here on the floor, which is her MO. 21 years until the next chance to see a total solar eclipse in the continental United States. The next total solar eclipse I'm seeing here is August 12th of 2045. I know I threw some dates out there earlier. Alaska getting one in 2033. But our next one here, probably, what is it? Continental United States, August 12th of 2045. And just in case you're wondering, that really is the sun coming through that lens on that camera. There's this, it looks like a fuzzy ball thanks to that ISO certified screen that we have in front of the lens of that camcorder. It looks interesting, doesn't it? Not even sure how you describe that. I'm thinking of like the little puffball from Suzuko the Musical. All right, so before this starts, I think I'm going to play one of these just because I can. Nice little reminder that we would love to have you follow us on Spotify, where our weekly show and occasional weekday shows get posted. By the way, helioeclipsophobia. It's the fear of lunar events. That's what the hashtag is on my name today, in case you saw that earlier. I hope you're not afraid. I hope there's no fear in you today. Eyes to the sky, kids and folks watching at Spencer Park in Belvedere with their glasses right now. Just make sure you're wearing the proper glasses. Certified protection. You don't want to be looking at this directly without the proper eyewear. One way some people are looking at this solar eclipse is through cereal boxes. You got one of these at home. Some are using these right here. Poke a little pinhole on one end of a cut open cereal box. And then you can see things happen indirectly without hurting your eyes. Nice job, Melissa. Cereal box, piece of white paper, some tape, some foil, and a pin. You're good to go. That's the kind of stuff, that's what we used, I remember, in 1979 when I was a kid. We made stuff like that out of boxes so we could turn away from the sun, look away from the sun, and watch it that way. Okay. Looks like the screen is getting a little goofy, doesn't it? It's 1:51. We still have about 15 minutes before our max coverage here. I'm going to see if I can adjust that camera once again because something's a little bit different. getting some coverage here. Getting some coverage, and I'm going to take a look at it. When I put these glasses on, by the way, they're completely dark. I can't see the light in front of me at all. And there's a light right in front of me. So if that should give you any indication. All right, see if I can. All right, I'll give the glasses to Noah so he can watch it, and I'm going to keep this camera as focused as I can on what's happening here outside our pet house studio here at INCROWD815 Podcast. Again, as you're watching this, wherever you are at, you don't want to be looking at this without proper lens protection on your cameras. I got a sad feeling that there's going to be a lot of people after today not realizing that they just ruined the camera on their phone because they thought they could take pictures or videos of this happening. What you're seeing on the screen right now is through a proper ISO filter on the outside of the camera lens. You can't just put your camera, your filtered glasses on your eyes and look through the camera. That will ruin the camera, and that will hyper focus the sun's rays on your eyes, and it will burn. It will be a bad thing. Think of getting a sunburn on your skin, but getting it on your eye, in your eye, permanently damaging your eye. Not good. So be very, very, very careful. Don't be doing that without the proper protection. These are ISO certified lenses. On the outside of your camera, on the outside of your binoculars, on the outside lens, before it gets to your eyes, before it gets between the lens and your eyes. That's got to be on the outside completely. All right, I'm going to see if I can adjust that a little bit more again to get it a little bit more centered. I think that might be about as good as it's going to get right there. That's pretty good. 2:01 our time here in Rockford, Illinois. About 3 minutes or so away from the most total coverage we're going to have here in our neck of the woods. Kind of a crazy coincidence, isn't it, that the moon and the sun are the same size in our sky? Pretty amazing. 5 after 2. This should be the max coverage we get here in the Rockford 815 area. I'll admit when it started, I was concerned it wasn't going to cover this much, but now this is impressive. I like it. I'll have to say this. This definitely makes you appreciate more the people that do this kind of photography and videography for a living, because this is really hard. Got to keep moving your camera because it's moving. Sun and the moon, they're both moving. You want to keep them on in the center of your screen. It takes some work. About 5 minutes past our most covered time. Should remain slightly, at least slightly covered until about 3:20. Although I think after 45 minutes or so of this, you're probably not going to see much more. Not going to notice as much anyway. Look at how fast it's moving off the screen. The higher tech guys probably have something on their cameras that lock into what they're looking at, so it keeps it center screen, right? So the other thing I'm gathering by this experience today here in the 815 is why they such a big deal to go somewhere where you're in that totality, because there's so much, even at 90%, there's still so much of the sun getting through. It really didn't get that dark here. I mean, yeah, there's a change in the feel, there's a change in the light, obviously. Things are subdued a little bit now. Thank God the skies stayed nice and clear today. This has just been wonderful to see. But I can see now a little more why it would be a bigger deal to go somewhere where you're going to be in the line of totality, where it actually does get dark to the point where crickets start chirping and the birds start roosting and they start doing their normal nighttime activities because the light's going down. That part I do remember from the last solar eclipse that we had, that it did get dark enough to hear the crickets start to kick in and all the evening sounds to start kicking in for just a few minutes before going back to regularly scheduled programming. .214, so just about 9 minutes past our most covered part of the sun during our eclipse coverage here on the INCROWD815 podcast. Thanks for those who've tuned in. I'm still open to trying somebody on Facebook if there's somewhere that would like to try a Facebook Live. I'm curious if we can go on at the same time and talk with each other and it would actually work. So if you're out there watching this on your glasses and you want to pull out your cell phone and go onto your Facebook account and go on Facebook Live, and shoot me a quick message that you're doing that, that'd be cool. What do you bet the most played song of the day, week, and month will be Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler today? Or will it be Eclipse by Pink Floyd? No, it'll be Total Eclipse of the Heart. I'm not playing any of that stuff because as soon as I do, YouTube would take the video down. So we're just I'm using the cinematic music being offered by Restream. That's the music you're hearing right here. Labeled as cinematic. They've got nature sounds and atmosphere and stuff like that, but I don't know that would sound as cool. Let's try the atmosphere. What do you say? We'll give that a shot. How does atmosphere sound? Maybe. I don't know. Cinematic is probably better. Atmosphere just kind of sounds creepy. Probably going to have to recenter the camera again here pretty shortly. For those tuning in that are not our regular viewers and subscribers, coming up this Saturday, we've got Cassie Bonnet from Mactown Construction on the INCROWD815 podcast. She'll be talking about hosting INCROWD815's networking group April 25th up at their place at Mactown Construction on North Alpine Road, far North Alpine Road, which I believe is considered McChesney Park. We're also scheduled to have Elizabeth Costa and Rob Bland from the Belvedere VFW. They've got a big Family Freedom Festival coming up. We're going to talk to them about that on the show as well this Saturday morning, live at 8 and later on Spotify. We went through these earlier, but I think it makes sense to go through this again to 10 things from space.com. They have the 10 facts that may surprise you about the solar eclipse today. Totality occurring on land for 100 minutes after the moon's central shadow touches the Earth at sunrise in the Pacific Ocean, close to Starbuck Island in Kiribati. It'll take 3 hours and 16 minutes to cross the Earth before it departs at sunset in the Atlantic Ocean north of the Azores. The path of totality is about 10,000 miles, which is 16,000 kilometers, less than half of which actually occurs on land. Totality moving across North America, including Mexico, the US, and Canada, in 100 minutes, spending about 68 of those minutes moving across parts of 15 US states. This is the longest totality on land, 4 minutes and 28 seconds, since the total solar eclipse July 11th, 2010, which happened in Easter Island, Rapa Nui. Number 2, it will be a nothing like October's Ring of Fire solar eclipse. This one's different. If you saw the annular solar eclipse October 14th of 2023 through those eclipse glasses, and you think this is just another total solar eclipse where the moon briefly covers the entire disk of the sun. Well, only during this kind of solar eclipse can the sun's outer corona be seen with the naked eye. It's like seeing our star for the first time. It's floating in space, and it's guaranteed to leave a lot of people stunned and just in awe. And the folks that were down in areas where it was totality, they got to take their glasses off for about 4 minutes and see it in its amazingness. Again, you never want to look at the sun directly. To view this safely, you need those solar filters, special solar eclipse glasses. Number 3, parts of the 15 U.S. states will be experiencing totality today, about 115 miles wide. Racing across the Earth's surface, the path of totality crosses parts of 4 states in Mexico, 15 U.S. states, and 7 Canadian provinces. In the United States here, totality began in Texas, the southernmost part of Texas, at 1:27. And when this is all done, it'll be over in Maine at 3:35 Eastern time. Fun fact number 4, Tennessee and Michigan only getting a technical totality. The path of totality touching just a very small corner of Tennessee and a small corner of Michigan. In Tennessee, the northwest corner will experience about 2 minutes and 7 seconds of totality at Kentucky Bend in New Madrid Bend, Tennessee. In Michigan, only the very southeast corner is in the path. They'll get about 1 minute and 20 seconds at Lost Peninsula Marina. Fun fact number 5, a tiny village in Mexico actually got the best view today. When you've got a path of totality, there is a center point, a point of maximum eclipse coverage where total solar eclipse takes place right at midday when the sun and the moon are at their highest in the sky. That place, just north of Nazas, Mexico, in the Mexican state of Durango, they got the full 4 minutes and 28 seconds of totality today. Fun fact number 5, this is part of a repeating event in North America. Solar eclipses come in families called Saros, which is Greek for repetition. Every 6,585.3 days, a shadow of the moon hits the Earth of roughly the same proportions as the previous one. The only reason it doesn't occur in the same place is 0.3 of a day. That's about 8 hours. That means Earth has rotated slightly. The total solar eclipse today is part of Saros 139. So when was 6,585.3 days earlier? March 29th of 2006. That eclipse produced almost identical totality for Africa and Asia. The next eclipse in Saros 139 will happen April 20th of 2042, and that is going to cover parts of Indonesia, eastern Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines. Every fourth repetition, every 54 years, a total solar eclipse occurs in roughly the same place, something called exeligmos. This one that we're experiencing now last happened March 7th of 1970, a couple months before I was born. And the next one for us, May 11th of 2078. That'll be the next time Saros 139 visits us, and that will cover Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Fun fact number 7, seasons determine the path of totality. The annular solar eclipse that we had October 14th of 2023, different than the one we get today because, well, that was in the fall. One shadow moved northwest to southeast. That was October. This one today moves southwest to northeast. Different season. The Earth's tilted axes is the reason for that. The one in October, in the fall, the Earth moves downward as it rotates. In April, here in the spring, it moves upwards. Thus, the different path that the shadow takes. Fun fact number 8, this is a city eclipse. About 40 million people live within the path of totality today. About 3/4 of those here in the U.S. Major cities that were being completely covered today: St. Louis, Cincinnati, Toronto, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas-Fort Worth, Indianapolis, Little Rock, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Rochester. I mentioned St. Louis, Cincinnati, Toronto, and Quebec are very close to the path and easy driving distance to get to it. Houston, Chicago, Detroit, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., all within 200 miles of the path of totality. And I need to adjust the camera again, or I'm going to lose it. We'll see how the focus changes as it moves on this one. Took a little bit of a wider shot just so it doesn't move across the skies so quickly on us here. Of these 10 possibly surprising facts about today's eclipse, number 9, Alaska missing out on totality, but not for long. Neither of the two non-contiguous U.S. states will see a total solar eclipse today. Hawaii gets about a 20%. They got about a 20% partial solar eclipse at sunrise this morning. In comparison, only southeast Alaska, west of Juneau, including Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve, they got about a 5% partial solar eclipse mid-morning, which is about now. So our 90% up there in Alaska, they're only getting about a 5%. Alaska will have an eclipse March 30th of 2033. In about 9 years, it will get its own total solar eclipse. About 2 minutes and 37 seconds of totality will be experienced, with the key observing location really being up in like Nome or St. Lawrence Island in Alaska. Finally, number 10, the UK, they get the last view of today's eclipse. Few will notice it, but this total solar eclipse for North America ceases to exist on the west coast of the United Kingdom. A sunset commences April 8th from the west coast of Wales, England, and Scotland, where it will be possible to see a tiny bite taken from the sun in the slightest of partial solar eclipses. Very low view of the horizon will be required, an ocean horizon, and hopefully they'll have clear skies so they can see it a little bit anyway. This is all thanks to space.com. Just passing the 2:30 mark here in Rockford, so about 25 minutes past our maximum coverage. For those that did not have proper eye protection, I hope our coverage today gave you some satisfaction in watching this today. With the equipment that I have, it was the best I could do. Special thanks to my wife, Christy, for getting these glasses for us. Otherwise, this wouldn't have worked at all. It was not going to work. It would not have worked at all. I think I'm going to take one last attempt at zooming in a little bit more on the sun with this camera, and then we'll probably wrap things up here in just a couple minutes. All right, I think that's going to wrap things up for us here today. Thanks to those tuned in. Feel free to like and share and subscribe and all that stuff that we need on our Spotify channel, INCROWD815 Podcast. Hope to see you back here again on Saturday morning. Have a great rest of your day.